Hey there, thank you for watching. In this video, I'm going to be sharing what worked and what didn't work for me in 2020. In last week's video, I shared my financial wins and losses, and I'll link that video somewhere up here for you. And it was really helpful for me to see this year from a 30,000 foot view and be able to kind of assess as impartially as possible what's working for me and what's not working for me financially. So in this video, I'm kind of doing the same thing, only looking at my life in general. What's working for me personally, professionally, really every other area of life that's not finances. So if that's something you're interested in seeing, then stick around. Before I get into this video, I ask you to please give me a like. Click on that like button. It's completely free and it's a huge help to this channel, so I really appreciate it, and it's a way for you to make your views count that doesn't cost any money. Okay, so before I get into exactly what I have for wins and fails, so I have 5 wins and two fails. I have my notes kind of on the screen up here. And I want to say that if something works in my life, then great. I aim to do more of it. But if it doesn't work, then it's my responsibility to fix it, to do what I can to either make it work or to find a new way to do whatever it is that I'm trying to do. So all that to say that I take complete responsibility for every single thing that's going on in my life. And I find it really helpful to look over the year from kind of a positive and impartial view as possible. So that's kind of the perspective I'm using when I come at these what worked and what didn't work type of analysis. So here is my list of what worked. So the very first thing that worked this year was taking vacations. And this is something that I just recently started doing, like in the last 3 years, taking very intentional vacations. And this year I did that twice, and I had an amazing time both times. There were kind of like ups and downs for both trips, but overall just incredible. And there are things that I want to do more. Like I want to be able to take more vacations. So the first vacation was to Curacao in February to go visit some family. The second vacation was to Wilmington, North Carolina, to meet up with my sister and her husband and rent a beach house. So I had an amazing time both times. Completely worth every single dime that I invested in those vacations. The second thing that worked for me in 2020 was planning. And this is something that has worked previously. I've been doing this planning on paper for about 8 years. And this is something that continues to work for me. Right now, I'm just using a regular planner that I got from TJ Maxx. It has my favorite layout, which is a week on one day and notes on the other. I was not able to find this exact layout with the full day for each weekend day anywhere. If they do have the notes, if a planner does have the notes and or the days in the notes layout, it's a split weekend, which I hate because my weekends are the most important part of my week. So I was shocked and pleased to find this at TJ Maxx, so I just grabbed it. And I've been using it for about 3 months now. So that is something that always works for me. Paper planning always makes me feel better. The act of writing things down just cognitively always makes me feel like I'm moving in the right direction. I've heard the stat before that you are 50% more likely to achieve your goals if you write them down. So this is again something that continues to work really well for me in writing out my goals on paper in a planner that I can refer to year over year, which I really enjoy. Thing number 3 that has worked for me on the topic of planning is actually writing down my wins and my fails monthly. So this is a huge thing that, and I'm looking for the month, how I do this. So I do like a month recap of what's worked and what hasn't worked within the month. And it can kind of be a drag sometimes because just taking the act of assessing your life is sometimes a little bit frustrating because I know for me, I always have these big lofty goals and actually executing on them tends to be a little bit more challenging for me. But if I discipline myself and actually make myself sit down and do it, it is invaluable, very helpful. So I write down things that have happened professionally and personally. That way, it's also a big help when I go to evaluate myself in our company's performance evaluations. I can kind of look back and see what I've done. I keep track of my highlights and the areas where I can improve. So it's a huge help both personally and professionally to write down my monthly wins and fails. The fourth thing that has been a huge help and has totally worked well for me this year is joining mastermind groups. So I think of three in particular that I'm working with right now, and every single one of them is fantastic. Some have different purposes and different aims and vibes, but they are all super helpful and very effective. And with all things in life, I get out what I put in, you get out what you put in. So I aim to put in nothing but positive, uplifting energy, and to receive from that positive and uplifting things as well. Some masterminds have different purposes. Some are mainly for camaraderie and friendship, and some are more focused on intense growth. And this year specifically, the one that I joined was more focused on intense revenue growth. So that's going to be a challenge and something that I'm looking forward to sort of rising to and growing with, which also relates to something that didn't work so well for me this year. So I will mention that in my what didn't work areas. And the fifth thing that worked really well for me this year was being intentional in investing in relationships. This is something that comes very naturally for me. I think that I naturally kind of look to build relationships and to foster community. This year with lockdown, it's been a little bit more challenging and yet a little bit easier, because though I seek that connection, I also am very much an introvert, so it takes a lot of energy for me to go out, and I found that by staying in, I can conserve that energy to be more intentional with my outreach to friends. So in particular, I know before I had kind of mentioned working to mend a relationship with a friend, and that is really rewarding to be able to say that this friendship is continued, that we both have been committed to this, and I really appreciate that. And I'm so grateful to be a part of this person's life, and I hope that we are friends till we're old and gray. So I really appreciate that, and that really worked, was being intentional and really having, for me, it's getting over myself. So really releasing a lot of my own personal negative pride and letting things go, letting old resentments and hurt go, which over time I found something that kind of resentment is something that builds up, and for me, doing sort of a monthly and yearly audit of myself helps me to release any resentment that doesn't serve me and is only weighing me down. So I'll say that what worked was releasing that resentment that, in this case, the person obviously did not mean, and I knew that they didn't mean it, and I was just being silly. So getting over myself really is what worked. Just say it like that. Okay, on to what didn't work. So there are two big things in what didn't work for me this year, and they are both to do with my own behavior and things that I can do better for myself, ways that I can behave differently or better. So thing number one is my own lack of discipline. And the way that this plays out is specifically in regard to working from home. So back in March, when my company transitioned for our area to work from home, like most of the world, I was all really excited, and I had these big goals and dreams that I was going to get up every morning at, whatever time in the morning and go for a run and work out before work, and I'd be so fit and healthy and efficient and productive. And let's just say my expectations were here and my execution was maybe down here. So that's something that I realize now after working from home for 9 months. I see in myself where I really can be more disciplined. So on the one hand, I feel like I am able to be so much more efficient with my time, especially with work. I'm able to just get done what I need to get done quickly and efficiently, reach out for collaboration when I need it, and then move on. So that's a huge pro, but on the con side, I've really seen where my own discipline has fallen short and where I can really improve my own discipline when it comes to life execution. So that's something that didn't work that I'm hoping to improve for 2021. This is kind of an ongoing theme. It's something that I'm continually working to be better at, executing, and self-discipline, being disciplined for myself. So this is just an ongoing thing that I am growing in year over year. Thing number two that didn't work for me, that doesn't work for me, and that I'm aiming to leave behind is this idea of playing small specifically when it comes to my earning and when it comes to my earning power financially, but also just in life. I feel just by being exposed to people who have big dreams and big aspirations and have been able to make them come true, I realize how small I am really thinking, and that it's possible to leave that behind. It's possible for me to change my thinking, to adapt and to grow, and to step into a bigger, fuller, richer life. So this is something that I'm really excited to move into, and again, to leave behind in 2021, is I kind of embrace a bigger way of thinking. So this is specifically in regard to the mastermind group that I joined that's more intensively focused on building profit and building a business. I am excited to share more about that. Let me know if you want to hear more about that mastermind group. It's focused towards women, but anyone can join. It's not just for women. And it's specifically regarding growing your business and really committing to growing your business. So that is a journey that I am excited to be on for 2021 moving forward. So thank you so much for watching. I hope this has been helpful. I hope this has maybe inspired you to take stock of your own life and to look at your own year, kind of evaluate your own year and what worked for you and what didn't work for you. So let me know in the comments if you have things that worked or that didn't. And I thank you for watching, and as always, I hope that you will keep watching. Bye.